All right, so we're going to do a quick demo on how to go about reconciling your claims. So what I usually do is I'll hop on over to the Bills tab, and then I'll sort my list on those bills that are still outstanding. So in other words, I've billed them, but I've not yet completely reconciled them. Now that I have that list, you'll notice here in this build column with these dates, the ones outlined in red, if I hover over top of it, it's going to tell me that it's ready to reconcile this one in particular as of this week. So that's telling me that based on the date here that we uploaded this bill into eMBS, the flat file that contains all of our approved claims should be ready to go ahead and pick up. So if we head over to eMBS and we navigate to our reports, our provider weekly reports, and then specifically this week where I uploaded this bill, what I'll be looking for is this reimbursement flat approved file right here at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and download that to my computer, head back over to my billing tab, and I'm going to click this Reconcile Claims button. And here on that pop-up, we're going to make sure that we've clicked on Process Approved Claims. There are two different processes here, obviously. We'll do denied claims next, but first we're going to do the approvals. So we'll click that tab, and then we'll click here to upload our file that we just grabbed from eMBS. And the system's going to bring that file in, and in the background it's going to run a check to basically run through that list of claims in the flat file and match those up against outstanding claims that we have in our unreconciled bills. Now once that process is complete, you should see 2 to 3 different lines here. The first being the total of all claims that were in that flat file that we downloaded. Next would be the amount of matching claims that were present. Those are going to be the claims that we're going to go ahead and mark paid, and it's going to reconcile those claims. And then there may or may not be a non-matching reimbursements total here. Ideally, there's not, but if there is, you can export this out into Excel to dive into that list more. More often than not, what we see when this happens is perhaps you billed an amount and you are actually paid a different amount. So maybe, for example, you billed for someone at a B acuity for ADS, and they were actually recently changed to an A. So in other words, you were paid a lower rate than what you thought you should have been, and that's going to require an adjustment. So if you see that line here and you're not exactly sure what's going on, feel free to let me know and we can help you with that. But we're going to go ahead and mark all of these matching claims as paid. And then we're going to go ahead and close this pop-up. And what you're going to see is, ideally, all of the outstanding to be reconciled claims for that week are going to go down to 0. So in other words, we've marked all of these claims on this bill as approved. And then you're going to see this additional button that tells you to mark reconciled up here. So we can click that, and we're going to mark that bill as reconciled. That's going to disappear out of our view because, again, we've got this view filtered on non-reconciled bills. So to process denials, the claim looks much the same. One of the primary differences there being that you don't necessarily have to wait until this turns red to tell you that you're ready. Because the difference between the flat file for approvals and the flat file for denials is that the one for denials should show up on the Friday immediately after the Wednesday deadline. So just keep that in mind. If you want to go out and check for denials immediately, I usually do, you can do that. But just like before, all we're going to do is go into eMBS, select our week in question, and then for our denials, you're going to grab this error flat file. So we'll download that to the computer, hop back over to the bills grid. Again, we're going to hit reconcile claims. Except this time, we're going to click the Process Denied Claims button, and then we'll upload that file. Now, once it's been able to analyze that file and match those denials up with outstanding claims, you should see a list that looks like this. And we're going to go through one by one and just log these denials. Now, what's going to happen with that process is it's going to move those denials from this to be reconciled column of your bill over to an actual denial, which you'll be able to see on the Denials tab. So here in this list, you'll be able to see any claims that we've reconciled with that denials flat file process. So you'll be able to come in and not only see a total of all of those claims outstanding, but also you'll be able to dig in and see specifically which error or errors, if there were multiple, are associated with any of these denials. That way you can work with your county SSA to get those issues resolved and those claims resubmitted as soon as possible.